Of course, as to the claim that you made, those are public record. Yes, the outcome we cannot tell. So as to whether or not the court said take $12 million, we cannot deny or confirm that for now. But assuming, without admitting, that there was such an award that we should give them $12 million, we also want you to understand that it does not necessarily mean that we lost the case. I hope I'm making a point. It doesn't necessarily, but you see, the way the paper puts it, it sounds like Ghana has lost a case and has been asked to pay $12 million in judgment debt. And everybody understands what judgment debt is. And that carries a misrepresentation of the position of government in this matter. And we thought that you should help us to clarify that this paper does not accurately capture what happened. But we cannot tell you what happened because we're also bound by the rules. Yes. After him, then you. Yes.
My name is Awan. What do you think the paper will come out with this?
Meaning into what we just saw. Adelaide Arthur was there for us. She's joined us over the telephone. Hello, Adelaide.
Hello.
What was that for?
Come again?
I'm asking what that was for, the Meet the Press session.
Yeah, actually, they wanted us to know that on 1st April, an award was entered in favor of Ghana. You know that Balkan Energy sued the state in December 2009, and they are saying that after several suits and counter-suits, they want to let us know that your side people, but you know, it's a power purchase agreement between Ghana and Balkan Energy, in which Balkan Energy later sued Ghana for breach of contract. And so I think they were demanding some $2 billion, but the Minister of Justice tells us that on 1st April, an award was entered in favor of Ghana, and now the Osagyefo badge continues to be to belong to Ghanaians. And Ghana is not down. And again, they wouldn't disclose the details of the award. They said due to some legal stuff that they had to do, they would disclose the details of the award was later. But then the project, the badge actually is at a parcel in the western region. So they just wanted us to know that an award has been entered in favor of Ghana and that the Osagyefo badge continues to belong to Ghana.
For many, they're hoping that the Meet the Press session will also touch on the calls reiterated by the Judgment Debt Commissioner on decoupling the Attorney General's Department and the Ministry of Justice. Has that been touched on?
No. When the Minister of Justice came onto the podium, she just spoke about the case regarding Balkan Energy, between Balkan Energy and Ghana. They've not spoken about the separation of the Attorney General's Department and the Ministry. They've not touched on that.
Thank you very much, Adelaide. Adelaide Arthur joined us from the Ministry of Information, where the Ministry of Justice is addressing the press. Let's move on to something else quickly, and perhaps to our earlier story where Dr. Edward Brenya, who was to join us over the telephone, it had to do with some amount of money the chairman of the ECOWAS has been asking from the EU, over 64 million euros from the EU. Dr. Edward Brenya is lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's also senior research fellow, politics and governance at the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. Thank you very much, Dr. Brenya, for joining me here on News Today.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Again, we've gone to the West asking for 64 million euro multi-donor budget support for the country. It brings us back to the question as to when we can wean ourselves of aid.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part of the question?
Right. Let's just start off the conversation with your initial comments on this.
Okay. I think it is important that we take cognizance of the emerging practice in international relations, which is the move from the culture of dependency to a culture of partnership. The core issue here is that EU, like every donor entity wants to see Ghana improve on its governance so that as to make Ghana a development partner. This requires that Ghana take measures to decrease its dependency on other countries and also show a sign of fiscal discipline and responsibility, as was indicated by the President of the European Commission, that Ghana should, and I quote, make a sustained effort at addressing its short-term fiscal challenges. Of course, we know that there's a problem with the government on the way that it's been handling fiscal issues. The government has not been able to cut its coat according to its size, and its expenditures has always exceeded its budget. And a clear example is the 10.8% of GDP that was recorded in last year's budget. In addition, the downgrading of Ghana's credit rating from stable to negative by the International Credit Rating Agency, FIT, that caused Ghana's debt to rise to 61.8% of GDP in 2003.
Very well. Dr. Brenya, you made a point that there is also something as a partnership. What I want to find out is where we draw the line between dependence and partnership.
Dependency and partnership it is not about giving money. Let me give you an example of Botswana. Botswana does get assistance from an international donor agency. But at the end of the day, they want to make sure that when you are giving the money, that you are making efforts on improving governance, improving critical sectors of the economy, so that every time you are not actually coming to them for same assistance that is given to you. I mean, of course, every donor agency is going to be worried. If money that is given, the country is throwing money away as is happening. Yesterday, Justice Apau talked about government losing a lot of money in unnecessary judgment debt.
Right.
This should be a cause of concern. So it is not necessarily about the fact that they're giving the money, but they want to make sure that when the money is given, there are signs that is shown in the country showing that the money has been put to right use.
Dr. Brenya, in our case, with that background, what would you say?
I think there's a lot that is going on in Ghana right now, which is about the same for all Africa countries. We need, as the President Barroso said, we need to prove to the international community that we are fiscally responsible. And that will require that we cut down on unnecessary expenditure. We have to make sure that our revenue is at least able to cover the expenditure that we are getting. I think Ghana has a lot to prove in terms of productivity. There is a lot of waste. There is a lot of inefficiency that is going on. The international community also wants to say that we are not just making rhetoric, but we are actually implementing what we say. In essence, what we tell people that we're going to do this, and in the next moment we have nothing to show out of it, then it becomes a game of deceit. And every time we'll be going around begging people to give us money to support our economy, when we come back and we do the same thing. I think this is the core issue that we need to take cognizance of.
Keeping in mind, aid does not always come free. It comes with some attachments. How do we insulate ourselves towards this? Must we always rely on aid?
Must we rely on aid? Was that a question?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is we have to look at Africa in the current context. The question that we ask is that, can Africa succeed without any form of aid? That is a big problem. I don't think we could actually succeed without any form of aid. But the important thing is that even when we get the aid must be used in improving critical sectors of the economy. Areas like human development, improving education, increasing the rate at which we collect our taxes, things that will gradually move us away from where we are right now to a position where we can say that we are either middle income or independent. I don't think the question right now is the fact that we can be sustainable without any form of aid.
Right.
Yes, we will need aid, but when we get the aid, we have to make sure that the aid is put to our good use.
How much aid do we need if we can't be that self-sufficient? How much aid do we need?
It is a problem to quantify. Aid in terms of exactly how that will sustain us.
In terms of how often we should go out there asking for it.
Oh, how often? Well, I think if you have a fiscal responsibility, if you do your homework very well, then the extent at which you are going out will be minimized. Right now, it looks as if Ghana is going out too much for loan. Everything from, on some of the things that Ghana should be able to sustain itself, we are going out there. That becomes problematic, which of course is part of the reason why we were downgraded from stable to negative in terms of borrowing. So I think we need to minimize how much. I can't give a figure or quantify how much aid we should go on to, but it is important that we also make sure that whatever we get, no matter how small it is used very well so that we will not need to be going out. And as I said earlier on, if we are actually improving on our productive sector, if productivity is on the rise, then we would minimize how much aid we are getting from outside. The problem is that we are inefficient, we are not producing how we should produce, and that leaves us at a very, very disadvantaged position, and we always have to be going out to support the budget.
Pleasure talking to you, Doctor. Dr. Edward Brenya is a lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's also a senior research fellow, politics and governance at the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. Let's come back here. And the Accra Region Police has arrested 18 robbery suspects in the first 3 months of 2014 compared to the 81 arrests made over the same period last year. The figures, according to the police, suggest a sharp decline in crime in Accra. Accra Regional Police Commander DCOP Christian Teteyohunu, however, says the service is not relenting and is seriously working to frustrate criminals from operating in the city.
We're in control of the security situation, and then robbery continued to decline. You know, sometimes within a period of 1 week, there's not a single robbery. So whatever happens, even one isolated incident that will happen, we are very serious with it. I myself, my deputy, my crime officer, and all officers, we don't sleep. Our machines are always with us, monitoring where we even hear, so that if immediately a message comes even to the communication center, and then there's a delay in the patrol team moving, then we come in quickly to tell you, what are you doing?
As proof of their commitment to rid the region of crime, the Accra Region Police arrested 2 young men in 2 separate operations. The first suspect, a young man said to be recruiting people for criminal purposes, was arrested on 29th March upon a tip-off.
We found 2 pistols, 1 revolver and another one locally made. They were retrieved from him. And he said he bought it from a gentleman from Kokumba Market. The other suspect is being pursued.
The other suspect, Kweku Denchi, was arrested at Abose Okai in an attempt to sell a pump-action gun he stole from his aunt.
He admitted that he stole the pump-action gun for the auntie's room. What he was going to use the pump-action gun for, whether he was going to give it to a group of gang members, it is something that the police are investigating. But based on his own plea, he was sent to court and then pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment.
The police have also retrieved a motorbike, a pump-action gun with serial number ADD 226762, and 3 cartridges when they attempted to arrest 2 young men who sped off upon spotting a police patrol team at Adabraka Farisco. The Accra Region Police Commander urged the public to be extra vigilant as criminals are devising new and improved ways of committing crime.
People think that by having electric fence, that prevents criminals from coming to your homes. People also rely on their dogs, that having got these things is enough. Sometimes the dogs are poisoned in advance. Yes, we also talk of metal doors, protecting your doors. The criminals that come these days, they are the artisans. So you see them using, big hammers to break your burglar-proof windows by chiseling the wall. It will take time, but
they still persevere to come into your room. So don't think you are fully covered when you have all these things securing your house. The most important thing is that get the police emergency line.
Away from crime, for those of you living in urban areas where to attend nature's call or the availability of basic amenities is usually a given, those in typical rural dwellings such as Tei-Nkwanta, a small farming community in the Acquah North municipality of the eastern region, have these amenities as luxury. So guess what? The Tei-Nkwanta residents want government to provide them with toilet, clinic and markets. Haruna Yusuf Mpone reports.
Tei-Nkwanta is predominantly a farming community with a population of about 1,800, with about 1,200 registered voters. The residents are mainly engaged in farming activities and petty trading, with a handful of them being hairdressers and the likes. For many of the residents, such as Lawal, Michael and Margaret Manubia, the lack of basic amenities in the community suggests to them they have been left out in the share of the national cake. They complain that nothing has been done for them in the last 20 years. Speaking to Joy News, the chief of Tei-Nkwanta community, Nene Aite Na the First, highlighted their needs, with a health center as one of the most important. According to the chief, anytime somebody falls sick in the community, the person will be rushed to Koforidua Central Hospital for treatment.
Clinic ni bi waha ebe bua papa amaye abambo mode wo behwe ye ya de ye mobo ye free politics ya say ye bua won ya che papa kwa me kuma bleso ya pim de ye hu te.
Haruna Yusuf Mpne's report from the Eastern region.
There's more ahead. Don't go away. Thank you very much for staying on News Today. Now, individuals and businesses are being advised to insist on warranty guarantees and also try and authenticate the products they buy to ensure they don't fall victim to pirated items which do not come from the original manufacturer. The caution sounded by stakeholders at a forum organized by the Ghana-German Economic Association comes at a time counterfeiting is said to be on the rise. Here's a report by Gifty Andopia.
Product imitation and pass-offs have been a bane of industry, with China identified as the biggest culprit and factory for most of them. Speakers at the Ghana-German Economic Association, who emphasized on electronics, ICT and industrial goods as well as consumables, complained about the phenomenon and the need for more vigilance. Managing Director of Compu Ghana, Saeed Masri, said the simplest ways of detecting counterfeit is applying what he calls common sense.
IT products counterfeit have increased from 5% up to 30% in 2013. This is again due to the corruption system, due to a lot of deals happening at customs, at borders. $3 billion is the counterfeit ink and toner globally. 70% is coming out of China. And 60% is smuggled into Africa. Know your source. Know from who you are buying. Is he a genuine partner? Is he an authorized partner? Does he have warranties? Does he give support? Or he will tell you, no, I'm saving some money on you, but there's no warranty on the item.
Others were of the opinion that businesses should seek out those who bootleg their products and report them for appropriate sanctions, because the Ghana Standard Authority lacks enforcement power in the law which set it up. Whilst participants insisted that the Ghana Standards Authority has not been proactive enough in clamping down on counterfeits at source, Head of Scientific Metrology at DSA, Paul Date, noted the system to check counterfeiting, among others, may be slow but aimed at perfection eventually, adding institutions can perform better with cooperation from the public.
We do not always wait for people to come to us. Sometimes we get to them. In other situations, they also come to us. Our systems are being improved. As the years go by, government is continuously, the word is continuously fine-tuning the process. And I know definitely we will get there.
President of the GGEA, Stephen Enchi, said the association intends to influence policy decisions with outcomes of this forum.
We're going to gather all the presentations, really make a summary of a lot of the questions and contributions that came in, and we send it to government to take a look at it. And we will continue to highlight them. One thing we do is that once we send it and we don't see any action, we don't just rest on our laurels. We will stand on the rooftops and talk about it. And it's going to get to a point where you feel a little bit icked and you say, these people are bothering me, let me do something. And so we get some response, some attempt to respond to it.
Consensus agreement of the forum to check counterfeiting were massive education, awareness creation, enhancing security feature controls, and intergovernmental partnerships to effectively stop counterfeits at the various borders. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Accra.
Now, transport fares, as you may well know, are likely to go up, following an increase in the price of some petroleum products. The National Petroleum Authority has revised upwards the price of petroleum products effective Monday, April 1, 2014. The price of petrol has been increased by 7%. Therefore, it will now sell at 2.73 pesos per litre. Andrew Kwache is Deputy General Secretary, the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council. The council held a meeting yesterday in regard to the fares, and let's get a quick update on this. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me this afternoon. And good to your listeners.
To my viewers. But what was the outcome of this meeting?
Yes, thank you very much. As we spoke yesterday, as the new prices came in for the fuel, it was a shock to us because we were not expecting it, especially being 1st April. But all the same, it is true, and we are also working around the clock to see how best we can also serve our members.
And for that reason, you entered a meeting with the sector minister. What was the outcome of this meeting?
Yes, yesterday we were able to meet the sector minister, Honorable Jifra Achivo, and we proceeded to the Flagstaff House to meet the Chief of Staff, and upon which another meeting is being conveyed this morning at the Ministry of Transport. Currently, I'm not in Accra, but I'll be updated by the close of day so that I know how far we will take this matter.
A lot of your members complain that delay in deciding on the fare increase is affecting their business. How soon are we going to know this?
Yes, it is true. We have agreement with the ministry, and for that matter, the government. We were to review our prices twice in a year. So it's unfortunate that this increase has come at this time, of which as operators, we cannot absorb this. That is why we said we need to increase our transport fares. But nevertheless, we cannot do this alone without the cooperation of the sector ministry. So this is what we are currently working on. We will take the opportunity to plead with our members that they should exercise patience for us. We are working seriously because we are in the same boat together, and we will not let them sink.
Right. So what next to get to that point when we know, because everybody is on edge to know what's going to happen after fuel price went up. What next after this meeting with the sector minister?
Yes, as I've said earlier, once I'm not in Accra, I'm not part of the meeting currently. I would try to comment on it.
What's usually the process you go through to do this?
Normally, we go to the market survey because we have said it that we are not basing our increases in transport fares only on fuel. That is why even we don't expect the NPA to inform us that they are going to increase their prices. No. What we do is, with our consultants, we go to the market and survey, get the current prices on the market. Sometimes we use the foreign exchange and everything into calculations. So it's a long process that we have to exhaust before we can give any percentage increase.
I see. So have you been to the market to do this?
Yes. You see, the time is that short. And all these arrangements, we have started with the ministry. And by the meeting today, we will be able to come out with the possible outline to see how and when we are going to do the increases.
I see. If you were to project or just, estimate a time period, how long do you think this will take?
Please, I will try to comment on that. I will rather wait for the close of today's meeting.
Very well. Thank you very much, Andrew. Andrew Kwache is Deputy General Secretary for the GRTCC. Let's check out business news from elsewhere across the globe. And Chinese government is acted for the first time this year to boost economic growth after a string of disappointing data led to fears of a slowdown. The government said it will cut taxes on small firms and speed up the construction of railway lines. The measures had previously been included in China's economic work plan for 2014. The government announced the measures including an 18% increase in the total number of railway lines being built compared to last year. Most of those tracks will be laid in central and western regions of the country. To finance the investment, the government will sell 150 billion yuan. That's about $24.6 billion or 14.5 billion pounds worth of government bonds. As further stimulus, Chinese authorities say they will also extend tax provisions granted to small businesses into 2016. Well, in Europe, Parliament has voted to scrap the roaming fees charged for using a mobile phone while abroad. Under the wide-ranging telecoms reforms, the cost of making a call or downloading internet data in another EU country will be the same as at home. That should be good. Now, the change is due to take effect from 15 December next year. It still requires approval from EU governments, and some consumers have faced bills for thousands of pounds after falling foul of current high roaming charges. The European Commission survey in February suggested that 94% of Europeans limit their use of the web when traveling in Europe because of the cost of mobile roaming. The package was adopted by 534 votes to 25. Last year, the cap for internet browsing was lowered to 45 cents per megabyte from 70 euros per megabyte in 2012. Baba Tando brings us sports after this. Don't go away.
Good afternoon. I am Baba Tando with the latest in the world of sports, brought to you by the kind courtesy of Cowbell. Now let's begin from the home of the senior national team, the Black Stars, where there have been calls for the Black Stars to travel alongside their spouses and girlfriends to the Brazil 2014 World Cup. Now, there have been diverse opinions, and there are those who say, well, who are not in agreement with this particular call, and there are others who are also backing the call, asking for support for it. And the latest person to have added his voice to the support, or who is in agreement to this call, is ex-Black Stars player Augustine Ahemfo, and he says that he thinks it's a good idea, it's a laudable idea that the players should be in Brazil with their spouses and girlfriends.
I think it would be lovely to have their spouses or their girlfriends, people that they are relationship with, in terms of family, be there around them. Those who won the World Cup have done that, so I see nothing wrong with us having the wives and the girlfriends around. In foreign countries, let's take Germany, for instance, England, for instance. Whenever they go into big tournaments, their spouses are with them. They don't stay in the same hotel with them. They're professionals, and so don't think that it's going to be a hinge on the players. We always have that thing in mind that because they are ladies and they will be around them, they are going to be sleeping with them day in, day out. And for me, as professionals, we don't do that.
Okay. French side Paris Saint-Germain on Wednesday evening beat English side Chelsea 3-1 in the first leg of the UEFA Champions League quarter-final match. Now, Chelsea must make up a 2-goal deficit to stay in the Champions League when they meet next week for the second leg. Now, still on the UEFA Champions League, Gareth Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo both scored as Real Madrid moved towards their fourth successive Champions League semi-final with victory over Borussia Dortmund. Well, that's how we draw the curtain on today's edition of Sports on News Today, brought to you by the kind courtesy of Cowbell. My name is Baba Tando. The news continues after this break. Do stay on.
So what's been happening on the lighter side? I'll tell you, the award-winning all-male gospel a cappella music quartet, Alabaster Box, has been recounting some of its successful moments in their music career on BBC's Focus on Africa. We bring you excerpts of their reminiscence.
Alabaster Box, led by Samuel Dewona, a journalist who practices with sister station Adom FM of Multimedia Group Limited, has been together for the past 19 years. The other members include Gideon Alote, who is a real estate developer, Hosta Ayub, who is a graphics designer, and Michael Alote, a marketer. According to Samuel, the group does a unique form of a cappella known as Afropella. He explained this when they appeared on BBC's Focus on Africa and also seized the moment to recount some fond memories of the quartet.
Well, with Alabaster Box, we have jobs back home. It's a passion. We believe that it's a gift that God has given to us, and we go out there just to try to encourage people, you know, just to also come out of themselves. Maybe yours may not be music, maybe something else, but ours is just to encourage you to know that you can read down within yourself and bring out something. But besides that, we also have our own jobs that we do.
What do you do?
I'm a journalist. I work with multimedia, where Acquisition came from.
Right. So you also a private journalist?
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. Okay. I'm a news editor, actually.
And what did you do for the Queen?
Oh, the Queen, it was the Commonwealth Observance Day. It was a Commonwealth Day itself, I think March 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so wonderful. We were brought in to come and sing our welcome song. It was a welcome song and a Kwapa song. So the place was so noisy. We had to just cue everybody in for them to know that the Queen was coming in. So we stood, you know, up there somewhere, and we stood, and there was a welcome, and the Queen was smiling. And Sophie, it was a wonderful day for us because the Queen was looking at us.
Smiling.
It was good.
She must have been quite impressed.
Well, from reminiscence, let's have a reminder of our headlines. President John Dramani Mahama calls for flexibilities that will further boost trade between West Africa and Europe. France and Germany have made a show of EU solidarity on Africa as European soldiers prepare to leave for Bangui. Find more news on myjoyonline.com. I'm totally grateful for your company on News Today. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amana. Goodbye.